welcome everybody to the Hot Topics podcast. This is Psycho 4081, and we have
Dimitri Ward.
And today's podcast, we're going to talk about something different. We had a topic here that kind of got on the list because I saw something on social media, and I thought it was an interesting question that someone posed, and I think it would have brought a lot of arguments and debates. And of course, on our podcast, that's what we're about. We're about bringing up the controversial things, and of course, we love debates. So let's start it with this. We have our question of the day, which is going to lead us into our discussion today. So we're going to start with this. We're going to start with this. All right.
In society, everybody has a part to play. Everybody's job is important. But there's some jobs that people feel are overpaid or underpaid. So today's question of the day is, what jobs do you feel are overpaid or underpaid, and why? Leave your comments below. As always, follow, share, and check out the podcast at the website posted on the video.
Okay, so the question of the day was, what jobs out there do you think are underpaid, and what jobs do you think are overpaid, and why? So the question I saw on social media, it was about what jobs were overpaid. And when I saw some of the results, I was like, oh, no, these jobs are underpaid. So I made it a question of the day so we can actually discuss that and see what's going on out here. So that's today's topic, and we want to start with you. How do you feel? What do you think? What do you think is a job that's overpaid?
A job that's overpaid. Let's see.
Now we talked about this earlier.
I would say, and people gonna think I'm crazy for this. Executive chef.
Okay.
Just by a little bit. I would also say, like I said earlier, a GM of a hotel.
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot more positions that should be getting that kind of pay far as towards what they're getting.
Okay. Give me one more good one.
I would say sometimes if you depends on where it is.
But you
Maybe.
remember you said earlier, you said doctor, right?
Yeah.
Or you have okay.
It was more of like it. I don't want to say they're underpaid either, but it could be they can be possibly overpaid.
Okay, so going back to the executive chef, why do you say that they're overpaid?
It's because of the work put in. They're more in control and managing than towards the sous chef, assistant chefs, the kitchen supervisors, and yada yada. Under that are more the backbone of it. They put in all the work.
Okay.
The executive chef just they come in and make sure everything, the menu, they do the menu, they do the scheduling, they schedule, the events, and, make sure everything is, depends on what kind of, whether it's with a corporate or, any other local restaurant or, whatever's going on. It's just, you always see this, the under chefs, with the cooks and the sous chef and the kitchen supervisors, they're doing all the work.
Okay, so all right, you have a background And that you have experience in the kitchen, working in the kitchen,
Yeah.
in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many years?
24.
24 years. Okay, so you've seen the ins and outs and
Exactly.
okay, so chef, you're saying that the executive chef has less to do than everybody else, but they're getting the lion's share of the money.
Far as the physical work, far as the work,
The work. Okay.
the actual work, not the responsibilities, the scheduling, making sure this. That's where it could be more hectic on the executive chef's part.
So you think they should be getting paid less? Maybe, like let's say the executive chef's getting $100,000, right? And then the assistant chef is getting 50. And I don't know their salary range, but let's just say, do you think that maybe the executive chef should get maybe 80, and then the other two, or how many there is?
So
how many under chefs, or you say the assistant chefs, are there?
And it depends. Like in one
restaurant, like
one restaurant,
at one time.
Normally it's like one sous chef,
Okay,
which is right under the executive chef.
now what does a sous chef do?
Sous chef is like the next person in charge under the executive chef. So when the executive chef's not there, the sous chef's taking, filling out the things that the executive chef, does or whatever. Make sure, he's the person in control, making sure everybody's doing their job. But he's doing more cooking than the actual executive chef.
Okay.
He makes sure if they have a kitchen supervisor, under him, and the cooks in charge. Some places they'll have a sous chef, and they'll have maybe 1 or 2 kitchen supervisors under them.
So you saying
then they have the cooks and the preps.
So they should get paid a lot more, and the executive chef should get a little bit less.
I feel like the sous chef should get
out of $100,000, and he gets 50. How much should, if you had $150,000 to divide between a executive chef and a sous chef, how would you split that up at a $150,000?
Maybe I would say
80-70,
80-70,
90-60,
80-70,
80-70. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because sous chefs they put in a lot of work.
Okay.
And now the executive chefs deal with the headache more.
Okay, which
I will
which
if I have to
should jack
balance
theirs
it
up.
out.
So it should jack theirs up way more. Okay, so let's say all right, we'll go with that. We'll go back because we want to go on to who we think is underpaid. And you mentioned the second one. You mentioned general managers of what?
The hotel.
The hotel. Okay, so a hotel general manager. Let's see, a hotel general manager. Why do you say they're underpaid?
No, they're overpaid.
I mean overpaid. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just because they have, once again, they have staffs under them that they'll have most places, general manager, they'll have assistant general manager under them, which is like in charge of when the general manager's not around, whatever. They're the second person in charge. They send the GM to another property or something like that.
Okay. So so let me ask you something. If what do you think a hotel, let's say Hampton Inn, for example, what do you think their annual salary should be based on? What do you think is fair?
A GM at a Hampton Inn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say about 70,000.
70,000. Where though? Okay, so that makes a difference. Where 70,000 in, let's say, Mississippi is a lot of money versus 70,000 in New Jersey or Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So let's say
these guys make from 100,000 and up.
Okay, so here are the numbers. The top earners, hotel general managers, the annual salary is 137,000, a little bit over 137,000. The average is $78,181. That's the average. Now the lowest percentile, the 25th percentile, is $61,600. So the average is 78,181. Now I guess that would account for the ones that's in Mississippi and New Jersey.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Okay. So now you said 70, right? So is that overpaid then? Because I'm sure the ones who are the top earners are like and I'm not even count Gordon Ramsay because I'm pretty sure, or the ones who are executive chefs of those major famous restaurants.
Oh, you talk about chefs?
Those are different. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me. Faux pas. General managers.
Okay.
So general manager of, let's say, the the Waldorf Astoria, right? So I'm assuming they would probably be in the maybe 300-400s. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that they shouldn't. They're right on. You said 70. The average is 78. So
Okay.
that's right on average. Okay. And then there was another one we saw. Oh, doctors. Doctors. Now that's going to be a hard one. I think that'll probably be the most polarizing one as far as if they're overpaid or underpaid. So let's see. Why do you say doctors are somewhat overpaid?
Doctors are, I say they're overpaid somewhat because, well, no, I think I said they were underpaid.
No,
doctors.
You said they were overpaid.
Overpaid?
Mm-hmm.
Doctors, well.
All right, so let's start up this way. What do you think a doctor, we're talking about a regular personal care physician, should make that's fair?
A doctor.
Yeah, because obviously when you talk about costs, that those costs go on to the patients because they got to talk about if you work for a hospital and the hospital has to pay your salary. Obviously, that means they have to recoup that money. So there's going the cost of service, the cost of drugs, all that. That's why hospital stays are so high, and medical costs in general are high. But what do you think the personal care physician, the family doctor, what do you think that they should make reasonably?
Like a family care doctor, I would say about
high and low end.
About 90.
90. Okay. So that's on the high end or low end or mid?
That's on the low end. About mid.
Mid. Okay. So mid. All right. So now the Doximity 2021 Physician Compensation Report reported that male physicians earn an average of $435,315. That's 2021. While the female physicians earn an average of $312,571. And that's going to go into another topic that we're going to have later on down the line was should women and men get paid the same for doing the same job? So that was a topic that or question that came up from one of our viewers or listeners. Okay. I should say listeners. I always say viewers, right? So that's a big difference, by the way. That's almost $120,000 difference between a male physician and a female physician.
Right.
But anyway, it goes back. You said that mid should be 90, right? So this is the average, 435,000.
Wow.
All right. So now I'm gonna throw my hat in there. So doctors, I would say, even at 435,000, I would say that they are underpaid. And this is the reason why. Doctors have a lot. I think you get paid by the level of responsibilities you have, and also the competition, right? So let's say I'm Dr. Strange before he became the hero, right? Great doctor, great surgeon, whatever it is, right? So one hospital knows I'm the best. I could do it all, whatever. And then another hospital who wants that same doctor, they're going to have to actually pay me more to leave my hospital. So I might be getting 90,000 from here, but guess what? Who's going to pull me from this $90,000 job? That hospital over there who's going to offer me, say, 500,000 or even 300,000, right? So you have that factor in there. And then the one of the things is doctors have a lot, like the cost of medical school. What's the cost of medical school? And I know is a lot. You do what, 8 years?
Yeah.
8 years. Average cost of medical school is in the range of, ooh, Lord. The average yearly cost of public medical schools is $53,420.
Wow.
Right? So that's from bold.com. And the average yearly cost of private medical schools is $65,575. So if you times that times 4, you're looking at $200,000, over $200,000, right? So you pay all this money that you're, and if you had to, get loans and stuff like that, that's a whopping amount of money that you'd have to pay back from a student loan or whatever. And then you factor this. You have medical malpractice insurance that you have to pay. It's a lot of liability. You have people's lives in your hands. So I think, in my opinion, I'm going to say a doctor would be underpaid. Not to mention, I saw a video on social media, and the guy was being treated by a doctor. I think he had an injury to his leg, and it was nasty. It had blood all over the place, whatever. And he looked at he recorded the doctor, and the doctor was falling asleep. Right? So, and I say that to, everybody knows that medical people, nurses, doctors, whatever, they put in a lot of hours, and a lot of them are overworked. And how hard is it to get in to see a doctor? It ain't easy, right?
No.
Exactly. So meaning that, they're well overloaded. Now I'm going to eliminate these doctors that do plastic surgery, or celebrity doctors and stuff like that's getting millions of dollars a year because they cater to celebrities or whatever. But we're talking about the average doctors that's in the public hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're underpaid. If they were getting $400,000, I think it's worth it because they put all that time in to go to school. They have to pay all that insurance. They have to, they have a lot of responsibilities. So I'm gonna say they're underpaid. As far as the general manager, I think he was on point with that. I think that what drives it up is going to be competition. Who's going to get the best manager, right? And I guess it depends on where you are. And what was the first one you said?
Oh, executive chef.
Oh, executive chefs. Okay, so that's more or less, I think, the higher. Only reason I would say I'm not going to say they're overpaid. I'm not going to say they're underpaid. I think their pay is going to be just right because of, the competition and who's going to,
what they can bring in.
Bingo. So I think theirs will go up and down according to that. Now, who I think are overpaid, and there's not many people that I think is overpaid, but I hate to say it. And I know it's going to be a debate. I don't think a sports star, a person who plays baseball. Let me pick on baseball because the argument could be made about football and their health. As a more dangerous sport. Football, hockey, whatever. But when you're talking about baseball, basketball, soccer, I know they get paid by the amount, really about how much they bring in to the stadium or to the arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is no way you can say that a player needs 60 or should get $60 million to play a game. A game. 60. There's something like $60 million a year. 40 million, 50 million. Like what's now? The football quarterbacks, what do they get now? Like 40 plus?
Yeah.
A year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
In basketball is even more. They play 82 games or maybe more if they're good. They go into the playoffs. But
Baseball caps all of that.
yeah, so
I mean,
and that's guaranteed money. Unlike the football players, which is more dangerous, but this is guaranteed. Now, baseball, I'm gonna give baseball a break. I'm gonna give them a break because they play 162 games a year. 162 games. That's a lot. Sometimes double games in a day. They also play the spring season. So it seems to me, and I don't know exactly when spring season starts, but obviously spring. So you're looking at March. And they roll into the baseball season. Then they're done in October?
mm-hmm.
So they're only getting November, December, January, February. They're getting 4 months off the year.
Here's my thing with that, though. My opinion, there's less injuries doing baseball than compared to football and basketball. You could just say they play more games, which I get, but what about the injury risk?
Well, I think baseball they get the same. I'm not gonna say the same, and I don't know the exact stats, but let's say they get the shoulder injuries, running into walls. They get the if they have to throw the ball a lot, they get the ankle injuries, the hamstring injuries. So they do get injuries. I think it's probably on the same level as a basketball player, if I had to guess. But football definitely, even if you don't even consider the injury.
Well, basketball, my thing with basketball is I think basketball is worse on the injury because you're running up and down the court, you jumping, you going angle to angle, side to side, you using muscles that you know what I mean, like different muscles. Baseball, you're not doing all that. Yeah, of course you're using different muscles too, but not like basketball.
Okay.
Baseball, most you're doing running to the bases or whatever, like, running to catch the ball outfield, whatever. You set up, but the injury risk is not less high than towards playing basketball and football.
Whoa. Okay, you was on point with that. So, according to allinjuryrehab.com, who do you think is first?
Don't tell me baseball.
No, football.
Between football and basketball?
No, of all the sports.
Football.
Football's number one. Number two?
Number two, I would say it's either hockey or...
Now I'm gonna take some of these out. Some of the things out. I know sometimes they classify things as a sport, but we're talking about the classic sports, the typical sports. So number two is basketball.
Okay. I was going to say that, but
and I would have thought that hockey was higher only because
more physical.
Well, I don't know. Basketball is hella physical.
See, the thing about it, which I was trying to explain, is
they are in hockey. They fight.
They fight. Yeah,
yeah.
But basketball, you're doing a lot of jumping,
right,
side to side. If you
side to side,
you tweak more muscles, you're doing. You know what I mean? It's a higher risk. You're jumping in the air, which a lot of players don't. They go up for a dunk or layup and take a risk of just getting like beat down or pushed down or whatever case may be, or running into another player. But you're running up and down the court. You got a higher risk of tweaking more muscles
and a lot of wear and tear also.
Yeah,
okay.
Wear and tear. Football, you get a breather because it's
well, even football. Football is just brutal.
Brutal.
Like you're on the field, it's just 100% brutal.
You get a breather though more than basketball.
Right, but that's okay. So you have maybe you expend less. Not gonna say energy, but your stamina can be less.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say those dudes in the trenches, them offensive and defensive linemen, they go at it.
Right? Yeah.
But I can see that. But as far as that football though, it's smash.
Yeah, it's more 100%. Brutal. Yeah.
So hockey was number 3. I took out rock climbing was actually above that, but I took off rock climbing. I don't consider that a sport. I hope I didn't offend any rock climbers out there. But number 4 was rugby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I definitely could see rugby. I would have even thought rugby might even be number 2 because that's
rugby is physical.
Yeah, that's football without the pads. So they got number. I'm gonna take this one off. It's base jumping. It's like skydiving, but I don't see that as a typical sport. Now, after that is gymnastics. Oh, absolutely.
As far as like just injuries. Or brutal
injuries.
Sport.
We're talking about injuries.
Okay, injuries.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
High risk.
So, let me run down the list. Baseball wasn't on that list. So, we was talking about how, players are overpaid. All right.
And that's why I said baseball.
Okay. So, all right. You win that argument. I'll give you that one. But I still like 162 games. If they do still do the running, they're not going to be up and back like basketball, right? So, all right, they're able to get a breather, especially if you got a great pitcher.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Why do you think they play 102 games? Or what was it?
162.
162. I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot.
I think
because of less injury prone factoring in that because they're not running up and down like football, basketball. Right. They're not doing all of that.
They also don't play in the rain or the snow.
Right.
All right. So, all right. Okay. So we'll get that. So, sorry, baseball players, you're on the list. You're overpaid. I said they were overpaid because I think this was way too much money to pay somebody to play a sport. That's just especially if it's not something that's detrimental to your health, inherently detrimental to your health, like football.
Right.
Football players, I think they should get more than what they actually get. Even the high paid players, quarterbacks get paid the most, but every play that they're on the field, somebody's basically trying to knock them out.
Exactly.
Oh, wait a minute. Boxers.
Boxing is brutal.
Boxing. All right. So I'm not including boxing as overpaid. I'm going to say they get paid fairly. If I had to point to one of them, I'm going to say they would be underpaid because that is a health hazard from ding, 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 ding. Right. And people have died. And I don't know if you ever seen a boxer who's been in the sport too long, or somebody who's been in way more than they should, and they get what they call punch drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man,
messed up Ali a little.
Yeah. Well, so I've seen that too. Okay, so that's mine. Baseball. When I'm saying sports players altogether, I'm not going to just single out baseball. I'm saying sports players altogether. They're way overpaid. Underpaid. Oh, now here's the list. Oh, let's go back to overpaid CEOs of major corporations. There is no reason in the world, and I don't care how hard the person worked at it, whatever, that's fine. There's a point where, you can, I believe, me personally, that you can have too much money, right? And let's go with Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, right? No, I'm taking Jeff Bezos off that list because I likes my Amazon. So I'm gonna take them off. But like Elon Musk, or Warren Buffett, those guys, when you're in the $200 billion mark, or you're an oil magnate from Africa or Mexico, whatever, and you're making $200 billion, that's how much you're worth, and yet 50 to 60% of your population is poverty stricken. That's being overpaid. So I know with some countries, and this is what I heard, I didn't research this, but this is what I heard, that some countries have a law that the CEO or the top person can only make but so much more than the lowest paid player, the lowest paid worker. I think that's great because what it does is, if I wanted to make $1 billion a year, guess what? I'm gonna work hard at it. And I'm gonna try to get this company to make all this much money because I want that money. But it also brings up the workers,
Right.
and I think you'll have more worker loyalty. It's just overall good for everybody. But you can't have a company that's where you're a CEO, not even the owner. Let's say a CEO, and you're making 800,000 a year, 900,000, 5 million a year, and then you talk about bonuses and stuff like that. When you have people in your own company that's on public assistance,
Right.
that's being overpaid. Now, underpaid. I'll start the underpaid off. All right. So this is an easy one for me, and I don't care what anybody says about this one, but teachers, they are to me the number one underpaid profession. I don't care if a teacher makes $130,000 a year, which I don't know if they do or not. I know some of them do when they get up there in a number of years, but there is no way that you could spend that much time in a year, that much time in a day, funding your things, stuff in your classroom out of your own pocket,
Right.
and have to deal with the kids that we have today. I had the opportunity of substituting in class, and I had a easier time because of my profession. But when you take a look, and I encourage any of the parents out there, go make a surprise visit to your kids' schools, and just say take a staff member and just stand in the hallway for 15, 20 minutes, walk through, take a 10-minute walk through with the staff person, and see what these teachers have to deal with. Unruly, disrespectful kids, crime, school shooters, unruly,
That's a good point.
disorderly parents, and then you're putting your effort into trying to teach a kid a certain subject, and they're not paying attention. They're disrespectful, right? Not and when you talk about the expectations, we expect teachers to not only just teach our kids, we expect them to raise our kids. We want them to learn respect. All those things that you should be learning in your household. When those kids come to school, guess what? If they don't have that, the teacher has to somehow navigate that, whether they teach it or filter through some people. But that's what we expect the teacher to have to deal with. And
Gotcha.
that is, what's the average teacher salary? You said, was it Wilmington?
No, yeah.
Wilmington? What was the average teacher salary? Or you said somebody you knew a teacher that had a...
I know they were getting like $2,500 a month.
A month. To me, that's ridiculous. And I know it goes by state because, obviously...
Exactly.
North Carolina is less expensive than, whatever. But let's say salary.com, they have teacher salaries, public school teachers, going from $41,000 to $85,000 per year, right? And I'm going to assume the $41,000 is in places like Mississippi and all that other little places like that. But $85,000, I don't think that's enough to deal with. They have to deal with, and think about all the school events they have to deal with, right? They have to deal with we call the coach classes and all the extracurricular activities and trying to, get kids motivated. And some people say, well, that's their job. No, their job is to teach. And, they don't get the help. Oh, let me mention this last one when we go to teachers. Teachers who are graded based on how their students perform. Totally not fair. How do you grade a teacher who is teaching special ed? How? You can't. There's going to be students that will never, ever, I don't care how good a teacher you are, that will never make the cut of, the standard.
Yeah.
They just won't. So that's inherently not fair. So the other two, I'm gonna throw nurses on there too. Nurses don't get paid enough. Nurses, they get, depending on where you are, they get a decent amount of salary, but not for the hard work they have to put in, the long hours because they're always short, right? And they have to deal with the bottom level stuff, the combative patients, the family of the combative patients, the emergency trauma. You know, they have to deal with a lot.
Right.
And then of course, how did it go with COVID? COVID shut down almost everything. But guess who had to go to work?
Teachers.
Doctors. Is it teachers? No, teachers. Well, yeah, teachers did too, but not into work. They did it like online. But nurses had to be there. Nurses and doctors, medical staff. They had to be frontline, ground zero, right? Same thing with police and firemen, right? Now I'm gonna talk about the firemen first. So the firemen, just fighting fires. If anybody can't say that that's not a dangerous job, or you would take $50,000 to go in a burning building. No, fighting fires and responding to accidents and all types of stuff, that is should be draining. Firefighters do not get paid enough. Say, oh, okay, they get to stay at the office, they got to stay at the firehouse and do all fun things. But when it hits the fan, guess what's going to happen? Anytime you have like a major accident on the highway, chemical spills, a building collapse, like 9/11, right? Mm-hmm. Who's there? Fire department. Well, police too. So fire department, they're there. Any type of hazardous material thing that's going on, fire department's there.
Fire department's there.
Right. So obviously that's something that, just because of the risk of the job, they don't get paid. They're underpaid.
Police,
same thing. Same thing along those lines.
Your life is on the line every day.
Exactly. And just to add on to the police, not only do they have to deal with those things, they're out there. They're a target inherently because they have that uniform on. You could be a great law enforcement officer, great cop or whatever, but guess what? Sometimes people don't see you as a person. They see that uniform and say, oh, that's a cop. I had a bad experience with a cop, or I had a good experience with a cop. So, every day is a day that they know in the back of their head that this could be my last day. So I did something with somebody. I said, we were talking about police officers. I said, let's get a little board and then do a spin, right? And say, can I give you $50,000 a year? Let's say, can I give you $100,000 a year? And I take this little board and I spin the wheel. And let's say one of those, let's say out of this 365 spots where that thing could land on, right? In every other spot, there's a black spot where you could be killed or seriously injured. Would you play that game? If that little ball, like say roulette, if that little ball landed on the black, which is seriously injured or killed, for $100,000, imagine having to spin that wheel every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever. Every day you spin that wheel, and if that ball lands on the black, that's it. Curtains.
That's
No reset, no add no more quarters in, that's it. Right? So that's the reason why I think those three are grossly underpaid. Those three. What would let me throw this in there. Umpires. Umpires don't, anybody who's a referee, an umpire in any sports, I don't know what you get. I'm sure it's not enough, because I couldn't do that job. I couldn't. So let me throw that one in there.
Well, in the NFL, a lot of them are not making calls, so I guess it's balancing out for them.
Yeah, but you automatically get if you make a mistake. This is one of those jobs too. Like even police, if you make a mistake, oh, he's a dirty cop or she's a dirty cop. Well, sometimes you can't be perfect all the time. You're gonna make mistakes.
Right.
Same thing with a referee. Referee make a mistake. Let's say, what's the worst mistake you ever made? Not you, but
referee.
Yeah.
the New Orleans no call New Orleans Saints game against I forgot who they played. They didn't call
the pass interference. Yes.
Yeah.
Was it the Rams? No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was the Rams.
It was the Rams. Okay.
It was the Rams, but that was big.
It was. It changed the whole course
Yeah.
of a team's season. Okay, so
that call is going to live forever.
they make mistakes, but that's why I say, just dealing with the crowd. You're never going to please everybody. Even if you have a call that could go either way, and I know, all right, as a Steelers fan, we're going to talk about the catch, right? When I thought it was, most of the world thought it was a touchdown pass against the Patriots, and they called when they threw it to the tight end, and then they called it a no catch. Those are the type of things that I don't care, if you're right or wrong. The ref is going to hear it. The guys in the stripes are going to hear it. So, yeah, I would say that's a underpaid job. What are some other ones you had?
Well, how much do refs? What's their annual?
I think it depends on what level. Let's say let's look at average NFL referee salary, and this is let me see what year. This is from Technopedia.com, right? It said the average NFL referee salary is $205,000, and there are 17 rounds per regular season. That means on average, refs are earning about $12,000 per game. I take that back.
Yeah, that's why
that's $12,000 a game.
That's why I was asking you to. That's exactly why I was asking you.
Well, I'm going to take NFL referee. Well, all right. Let's see what they do for $12,000 a game. All right, so you're going to get, I'm sure, depending on the game and all types of. I'm sure they've gotten death threats. They've gotten pelted with snowballs and all types of stuff and booed. Yeah. I can do $12,000 a game. I'll take that. You can even throw a few bottles and cans at me. I'll take that. So, all right, with the $12,000 a game, that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's why. This is why I said to miss calls like this, the way they do.
Well, I think the NFL could probably remedy that by using more technology or just adding a few extra officiating personnel on the field.
How many do they have per game? It's like what? How many officials they got out there?
I know it's at least. Let me see. You got
four, right?
You got the line judge. You got the referee. Yeah. You got the back judge. I think it's at least four. At least four. But you got they get knocked down by these big, huge football players and run into, and they got to deal with the elements. Like, when they had those 20-degree below zero football games, the referees got to be out there too.
Exactly.
So
they're not out there with coats either.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, that's still a lot.
Still $12,000.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not shaving off $12,000.
Oh, okay. So you know what? With that said, even more for football players. All right. So I'm taking football players a little bit down the list. Oh, I didn't say the NFL players were overpaid, right? I said they were not. I said the rest of them were. So NFL players, they have to play in those conditions. It's not like you can say, well, it's cold or rainy or whatever. We're going to delay the game, right? They got to play in that. I remember the game where it was a Philadelphia game. And Shady McCoy was going crazy, but it was so snowy and fall. You couldn't even see maybe 3 or 4 feet in front of you.
Right.
But they had to play the game.
Right.
When they had the huge snow coming down, they had to play the game. Wind, rain, 20 degrees below zero, 30 degrees below zero, whatever. They still play that game, right? So I want to say the on the scale of sports players. Football is is the least overpaid if they are at all. And I'm not saying that they are, but I'm saying they're the least.
Oh, they're definitely the least
Yeah.
because you got to think about this. Basketball ain't playing in the snow.
Right.
Basketball games ain't playing in the rain.
Right.
They can easily try to do like an outdoor thing. Also, like open up or whatever. Just make sure the ground is not
Right.
They don't do that for them.
Right.
So yeah, you can football.
And baseball
it's
games
more
get rained
brute.
out.
Huh?
Baseball games get rained out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But football is more brutal because that and the turf.
Yeah.
You gotta remember the turf. They get hurt.
That's true.
On what is it?
Turf toe.
Yeah, turf toe. But the turf situations was on grass. It can damage them. That's why they get more torn ACLs and things like that. Might get more torn Achilles because just what you're playing on, and then the weather situations. They play in monsoon sometimes. They won't even stop the game.
Yeah. Only time I think they'll stop the game is when there's lightning. If lightning happens, they'll stop the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you out there in the cold weather. Them players ain't got coats on, running with them coats.
Yeah. I'm just imagining having to play as a football player, right? In February. No, let's say December, because February is usually the playoff, Super Bowl, whatever. But playing in Chicago,
Green Bay, Chicago, Kansas City get cold.
Right, Kansas City, exactly. Cincinnati. I remember back in this was in the 80s when the San Diego Chargers came to Cincinnati, and this was I think this might have been the AFC Championship or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And of course, San Diego was probably got the best weather anywhere in the United States, but they came, and I know Dan Fouts. I felt bad for him because this was one of the coldest days I ever remember. And they had to play that game, and I remember they was talking about that. But yeah, I don't think I could do it. I'm not built for that. I went to one NFL football game, and it was in October, and I was freezing. I said, you know what? I'm not built for this. I'd rather sit in a nice, comfortable house, a chair, whatever, and watch it on the TV. So kudos to the people who go out there and, and do that. But
this is why football is listed number one. And then, basketball's number two. And I say basketball, like I said, basketball number two is just because of the angle, the tweak. You tweak certain muscles, a lot of muscles, because you're jumping, you're leaping, your
elbows
going back and forth, side to side, you're shifting, you're running up and down the court. Like you're doing a lot of running. And people don't realize that. They think, oh, basketball indoor, you have, basic run up and down. No. Like NBA is, now back in the Michael Jordan days and, earlier NBA, times or whatever, it was definitely more, the hand checking and all of that stuff. It was more, you get beat up and stuff. So it was back then. I would definitely say basketball's up there.
Yeah, especially going through Detroit.
Yeah, going through Detroit, it's just that era is more like physical.
Right. All right. So here's a list of the most dangerous jobs and their salaries. So you have, this is by ISHN. They obviously they deal with safety and stuff like that. So number one, logging workers. They have a fatal injury rate of 111 per 100,000 workers. Total deaths 56. That was back in 2018.
Whoa.
So they get a salary of $41,000, a little bit over $41,000. So is that worth it?
No.
Aircraft pilots and flight engineers, which is kind of strange because you don't hear too many injuries for a pilot. I mean, when they crash, but that don't happen that often. But theirs is 53 per 100,000 workers. Total deaths 70. That's in 2018. Their salaries is 121,000, a little bit over.
So that based off plane crashes.
I don't know what they're basing it off of, but
because that's a lot of plane crashes that I didn't know about.
Maybe I don't know I don't know how they would otherwise be injured. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Derrick operators in oil, gas, and mining. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. It's 46 per 100,000 workers. That's the fatal injury rate, and with total deaths of 20, and their salary is $51,390. So I always thought they got paid a lot more than that, though. But yeah, roofers. Not surprised. All right, roofers, 41 per 100,000 workers, 96 deaths in 2018. The average salary is $42,000. So, whenever you see a roofer, what do you notice? Like when you actually see them I don't see none of them with anything that would keep them from falling off the roof except experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that's what it is, and then of course climbing up ladders falling, and all that type of stuff. Okay, garbage collectors. I would never have guessed that would be on there, but it says 34 per 100,000 workers. Total deaths 37 in 2018. They make about $42,000. So let's see. They say generally these workers will drive a truck through neighborhoods and empty garbage bins and dumpsters into a truck. We already know they do that, right? And the bins are loaded by hand, I guess, while trucks have mechanical lifters. So I'm guessing where the injury may come in is maybe getting struck by a garbage truck or other vehicle because they're out in the traffic, impatient drivers, or maybe their hand gets stuck somewhere. I don't know. Or maybe
I'm guessing just falling off the truck because you know how most of them hang on the truck.
Yes.
I'm guessing a lot of them weren't balanced enough and got injuries. But
they're not, when they hang it on the back of that truck, they're not going fast.
They're not.
So it's on the list.
Well,
and it said fatal.
Yeah.
Okay. Iron workers, number 6, 29 fatal injury per 100,000. Total deaths of 15, and the salary is $53,650. So their most common fatal accidents are falls, slips, and trips. Okay, I can see that. And they're working with, things that aren't bending, right? Number 7, delivery drivers.
Sorry.
Fatal injury rate 27 per 100,000. They had 966 in 2018. Their average salary was $29,610. Most common fatal accidents, transportation incidents. So delivery drivers get into accidents. I can see that. I can see why they're up there. They're always driving and probably trying to get to their spot pretty fast.
How many deaths they said?
966.
Wow.
And they don't even have to cause the accident. So you figure just inherently, if you're a person who drives, I think just being in traffic, you would.
Yeah, well, I could see it because sometimes pizza deliveries get overpowered. The Super Bowl, a driver out on the Super Bowl is accidental as can happen. So or any kind of what is it? Instacart. Driver.
Yeah.
You got to include all of that. Yeah. So
you know what? It's not on here, but on this top 10. But guess what? I'm gonna throw in there was top 12. But I'm gonna say, and I'm surprised I don't see those on the list. But I'm gonna say taxi drivers. So I'm gonna add that in there to that thing.
Yeah, you might as well add that in there if you say it's the same thing almost.
What number was that? That was what, 6 or 7?
7.
Okay, so we have farmers.
I could see that
with the equipment.
Animals,
okay,
and equipment.
So there's this transportation being on the road, and I could even see them getting chopped up with one of them those big machines that turn up the corn stalks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
or standing behind a horse getting kicked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some of the farmers aren't experienced. Mm-hmm. All of them aren't experienced like that.
71,000 is their average salary, whatever. 257 deaths in 2018. Ooh. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, this is surprising, too, because it says firefighting supervisors, not just fire, but the supervisors, right? So
for the fire department?
Yes, they're at number 9. So they make about 82,000 a year, and they had, total deaths in 2018 was 14. So it's 20 per 100,000. I don't see how that makes the list, but I can imagine, the supervisor, you always see that one truck with the lights on top,
Yeah.
following behind. Maybe that's, in traffic accidents. Power lineman comes in at number 10, which I would expect that would be a lot more higher.
Higher, yeah.
Right. So they had 29 thefts in 2018. They make about $71,000. And of course, their most fatal accidents come to exposure to harmful substances or environments. Rain, thunder, lightning, power lines that'll liquefy somebody or polarize somebody. They come in those high lines. So I can see that's on there. Agricultural workers, crops and livestock. Okay, I can see that. They don't make a lot of money too, so that's $25,000 a year, but they have 20 fatal injuries per 100,000 workers. So I guess working with livestock will do it. Crossing guards. Oh, I definitely. You know what? I think the more years that go by, the higher they come up on the list, because we have drivers out there that don't want to stop for the stop signs or lights or workers or whatever. But they had 14 deaths in 2018, and their injury rate is 19. Fatal injury, not injury, a fatal injury, 19 per 100,000. Obviously, their fatalities are in the transportation parts, right? Crane operators, I can see that too. Contact with objects and equipment, and they make about 60,000. Number 15, construction helpers, I can see that. Falls, slips, trips. Landscaping supervisors, that I can't see. Let's see. Falls, slips, and trips. Okay, 52,000 a year. 18 fatal injury rates, 18 per 100,000, and they had 48 deaths in 2018. Highway maintenance workers. Oh, I definitely can see that. We go back to Maryland had I don't know if it was a year or two ago, where they had these two cars speeding up and down the Beltway, and then one of them took out a whole group of highway workers.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. So I can see that. Cement masons. Theirs was again falls, slips, and trips. I think they should put that in with the regular construction people too. Small engine mechanics, that I can see. I can see that.
Small engine mechanics.
Yeah, with working on engines and with that the oils and the flammable stuff, and so funny. There's I shouldn't laugh, but there's their most fatal accidents have been transportation, I guess, with the cars, violence, and other injuries by persons or animals. I guess they didn't fix the cars correctly, or they might have a dispute. Next thing you know, somebody want to take it out on a mechanic. Okay, that's the first one I saw in here that said violence.
Wow.
And then supervisor of mechanics. Okay, well, we didn't get any resolution with the mechanic, so we're gonna go with the supervisor. So same thing. Violence was their most common fatal. I don't say accidents, but that's their most fatal thing. Heavy vehicle mechanics, same thing. This with heavy equipment. And then I'm gonna go with the last one. Last two, ground maintenance workers. I can see them with trimming tree. I don't know why they would have the deaths though. Let's see. 225 deaths in 2018. 14 per 100,000 workers, $30,000 of work. And I'm gonna add maintenance workers on there because they all the same. Construction workers, mining machine operators, and then of course on the list is police officers. Police officers come in at number 22. 14 per 100,000 workers, and 108 total deaths in 2018. Salary of $67,600. Most common fatal accidents, and they keep saying accidents, but violence and injuries by persons, other persons, or animals. And I guarantee you can add cars, like traffic accidents.
Oh, okay.
So I could see that. So,
even like high speed chases.
Yeah, exactly.
You following one guy, chasing one guy down, and then he take you through hell.
Yeah,
damn near kill yourself.
So obviously those jobs I would say might be underpaid. If you have none of those jobs actually paid a lot of money. When you're talking about the average, none of them paid a lot of money.
Right.
But they had the most fatal or most dangerous jobs. So there's our list of underpaid occupations.
What about? I'm shocked they didn't have this in there. I know this might sound a little crazy, but what about security?
Security guards?
Well, you know,
Or-
you got the clubs.
Oh,
you put
bouncers.
yourself on
Okay.
bouncers. Some of them
Right.
can't hold up to certain people in the clubs.
Right.
You know what I mean? One guy might be way bigger and take out two bounce. You know, it's high risk of injury and things happening in that too.
I can see that. So I would.
Or even just security. Like, if you think about it, a place like Walmart or Home Depot or some place like that, their security people might be a lot of old guys in their 80s. I've seen this in Wilmington, where they, you know,
But you
they
know
go
what?
through Securitas. The hotel go through Securitas and bring in these 70-year-old men. You know, just walking around. You know what I mean? Because you have less risk.
But a lot of times
at
they're
the
not
hotel.
gonna physically engage in anything with those people. They usually will call in somebody else. Even with the security in some of the malls, not the malls, but the like the Walmarts and all that type of stuff. They're not gonna fully engage people. And a lot of those places hire off-duty police officers to do that part.
Right.
So-
Okay, because that makes sense. Because I will see a lot of Grady's from Sanford and Son at the, hotel hiring them. I'm like, that security?
Like what's his name, Otis, for
yeah.
Martin.
Yeah. What is he gonna do? Flash a flashlight at you?
Hey, that's all they need to do. Seriously, all they need to do is be a good witness.
Flash a flashlight at you?
That's it.
You looking like it probably confuse you more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Should I rob this guy? He got a flashlight. But I mean, yeah.
So that's our list of most overpaid, most underpaid jobs that's out there. I'm pretty sure we couldn't go the whole list of jobs because I don't want to take runway model off the list either as far as slips and falls. But that's it. What do you think your you guys out there listening? What are some of the jobs that you say are overpaid and underpaid, and why? If you see our stuff on social media, what?
There's one more job that I think that's underpaid, but I really don't know the exact annual salary on them.
Underpaid?
They might be. I
No, you
can't really say that because I don't know what their annual salary is.
What do you think?
But
you think they're underpaid or overpaid?
They're probably underpaid. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Who is it?
Security, money,
Talking
the
about
money truck,
like Brinks and all
armor truck.
armor truck. Okay,
I
okay.
doubt they're making that much money, and they are because that's always targeted for robbery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just,
So this is just in Baltimore. Let's say the national average they make is $51,000 a year. So
okay, that's not too bad.
it's not too bad.
I thought,
But
I,
I saw-
I thought it was way under that.
So with that said, I saw a video where they were going to, I guess, either take money or put money in the ATM machine. I say ATM machine in the ATM, and some dude jumped out on him. Next thing you know, he wanted to go for his gun, take the armored truck driver's gun, and took the gun, belt, the pants, the whole nine. Left him there basically with no pants on. So
I shouldn't laugh at that, but
yeah, that's I can see that, but they're armed, but I can see that being a dangerous. I don't say it's overpaid or underpaid. I think
it's real dangerous because any kind of criminal, any kind of criminal mind, once they see that truck, they know what that truck is.
right. That's true.
Everybody knows what that truck is. That's the money truck. So it's like it's targeted no matter what. Even if it's not targeted, people out there are looking like money truck.
They're either
You know what
delivering,
I mean? Like
they were delivering money or they're picking up money. Either way,
Exactly.
they should have some money.
Exactly.
I got you. So, okay, so that's our list. You guys, if you catch our real Hot Topics podcast, HOTTOPIX podcast, and you check our reel or wherever it is. The question of the day is: what jobs do you think is overpaid and underpaid? Let us know, or you can call 443-860. Was it 860-2716? That's if you have WhatsApp, that's you can leave your message or a voice note on WhatsApp, or you can call that number and leave a voicemail. So looking forward to hearing your responses. I think there will be, something that's good to debate.
Yeah.
And check us out on at www.hottopicspodcast.com. And once you go there, you can actually select your favorite podcast platform, anywhere from Spreaker to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, the whole nine. So check us out and subscribe if you can. Thanks for listening.